Okay.
Oh, now it's working. Hey guys, you're watching and listening to the Ultra Perform Show. Today I'm here with Bill Schuffenhauer. Right?
Yes.
See, I just
I
needed you to
know,
say
right?
it. I got that down right before because we were kind of live, kind of not, kind of recording. But he is a 3-time Olympic winner. And he's going to share that with us today. He also was homeless. He grew up being homeless, right?
Yeah.
And you know that's going to be quite an experience and something to talk about. And now, what are you doing now?
So now I'm kind of come full circle, as we kind of talked about earlier on in the show. I'm the director of development for a homeless shelter up in Ogden, Utah, called the Lantern House, and it's actually kind of a really surreal moment to go from being a homeless person as a young child, going from that to competing at the Olympics 3 times, winning an Olympic medal, and now coming full circle to actually be in a position where I can help, people in the homeless community. And I'm very open and active with a lot of the clients at our shelter, and I sit down and I go to lunch with them, and I'm a real person, with them as they are to me. They can reach out and touch me, and it's been probably one of the funnest opportunities as far as pursuing a career that I've ever had. To be at the shelter and work with them, and work with the staff. They're just a bunch of great people that are trying to do a lot of great things for our community. So
great. So tell us about your experience of being homeless. How did that happen? What was that like? How long was it like?
I was kind of, for the most part, born into that. I had 2 parents with my mom and my stepdad. They were heavily addicted to drugs, and that was just the lifestyle. The other day I was at a group called Youth Impact talking to the kids up there in Ogden. They asked the same thing, like, well, how did you feel growing up homeless? And the response was, that's all I knew. I didn't know anything different, and so I didn't know I was different.
Really?
I thought that was just normal.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, being homeless and different things, 17 different foster homes and living on the streets and all those different things. That was kind of a norm thing for me. And honestly, it wasn't until I moved from Salt Lake City up to rural Utah where I had an opportunity to see something different. And that was my first, taste of the beginning of the end of me changing my stars and want to pursue bigger and better things, not only for myself, but for my family when I eventually was going to have them.
So how old were you then?
So this was 7th grade. And,
so up to 7th grade.
Up to 7th grade, I was off and on, homeless, living on the streets, foster care, all over the place. So,
was that just your family, your mother? What was that?
Yeah, it was mostly my mom and my stepdad. There were several times that if she wasn't around, my mom led a pretty rough life of the drug addiction and just that street life. And so there were times that my mom would be gone, and sometimes my grandma would actually have to come in and pick me up and take care of me and stuff like that. And so it was just a lot of bouncing around, a lot of confusion, no stability whatsoever as a young kid. And so when I had an opportunity to actually find stability in my life and see the world for what it really was, that was my first opportunity to wow, there is actually something out there better than what I'm currently experiencing. So.
Wow. Yeah, for me, it would have been, I wouldn't have understood what, bed to sleep in, or whatever the situation was as a kid.
Yeah.
For sure. So what brought you to, how did you get on your feet from that? I mean, you mentioned earlier that even in high school, you weren't allowed to ski. And I didn't hear all the conversation you were having.
Oh, yeah.
With the producer, but what were you doing then before you were in the Olympics?
So one of the things that I wanted to do is try and figure out, what would be something that I could do that would keep me busy and keep me away from, hanging out with the friends and the people that were, still living that lifestyle, the homelessness, the drugs, the alcohol, the gangs, and all that stuff. And so early on in 7th grade, I realized that because I was running from cops and jumping fences and all that stuff, I was really good at track and field, and those skills, negative skills, that transitioned into positive skills in the world
Seriously.
of athletics. And that's how I realized, getting into
So,
sports.
so say that again. So being homeless, running away from people, basically.
Running away from people, running away from cops, jumping fences. I took that negativity in my life and transitioned it into a positive thing, and
Wow.
it transitioned into being good in track and field. So
That's amazing.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting way you find things out in your life. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah.
Can you put it on
Yeah,
silent real quick? It's just gonna do
Live show.
Yeah, so it's all right. It's all right. Live show. Things happen. Things happen all the time. You just have to expect or be okay with it, right? The
Well,
show must go
yeah,
on.
let's turn off. The show keeps going.
The show keeps going. So those skills you turn into positive, your experience. I guess that's true of like anyone. You either turn into positive, use it as a strong trait, or you let it beat you down for the rest of your life. Right?
Yeah, and
You could have gone a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can apply, like you mentioned, anywhere. As a kid growing up, in your relationships, in the business, in the corporate world. Let's say you have, a bad month of sales. There's two different ways you can look at that. You can let it, define you, or you can say, hey, what can I learn from this last month of why my sales weren't up, and then how can I take my game plan, reassess that game plan, and come back that next month even stronger and better. And that's just what I've done my whole life, is taking like any type of negativity that I've had in my life and said, okay, instead of let it getting me down, let's just assess this as a potential like learning lesson. And then how do we go and take the steps from, that next step to, accomplishing that goal or getting to where we wanted to be. And that's, in any of my situations, again, both, personal life, business life, athletic life. It's not to say that I don't get down. That's human nature. People get down. But again, it's what you learn from that situation to actually move on from there.
Yeah, and also I noticed, I was telling my friend, we're both alike. I bitch and moan, and okay, all right, I did that. Now I'll get going. I still have to do this or what I want to.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to take a break, half hour, 2 hours tonight, and then you go back to it.
Yeah, taking the time out. I take time outs all the time. But I utilize that as we're talking about. It's for a moment for me to like reassess what's going on in my life. And then, taking that time out helps me like clear my mind and take a look at, again, what was my game plan, and then, how do we overcome these obstacles and move forward. So it's, I always like to let people know it's, as human nature, we typically, when things start going bad, we start trying harder and harder, and they continue to get worse and worse. When the reality is it's there's that phrase called keep it simple, stupid. Just keep it simple. Like, just stop, take a time out, and just reassess what's going on, and then you're not beating your head against a wall all the time, and creating more chaos.
So tell us a little bit about your experience in the Olympics. What did you do?
Yeah, so I competed in the bobsled. Competed in 3 Olympics.
Yeah, great.
2002 Olympics here in Salt Lake City. That was probably the most emotional and exciting Olympics for me, because growing up the way I did here in Salt Lake City, and then have the opportunity to compete in the Olympics here in your own same city. There was a big story of, going from the streets of Salt Lake City to the Olympic podium in Salt Lake City. And then winning an Olympic medal here, in front of my friends and my family and people that grew up with me, knew my story, and schoolmates and stuff like that. So that was the most, important, most exciting time for me in my athletic career. And then I had an opportunity to compete in 2 more Olympics, so 2006 in Torino, Italy, and then 2010 in Vancouver. And then my body said no more. But, I knew when I was done, physically I was done, mentally I was done, and I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish in the world of Olympics.
When you say your body said it was done, what happened?
The years of training and different injuries and stuff, eventually takes toll on your body, just like any other athlete, or, just your body gets to a point where it says no more. And mine got to that point, and it happened to be at the perfect time for me when I was ready to retire, both physically and mentally. So,
Great.
yeah.
But so you lived in Salt Lake and you were homeless here, and you even said it's this area,
Yeah.
right? This area we're in
This
right now.
area, like this neighborhood that we're in right now.
Yeah. And you've been in this area before.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and it's interesting, as we were kind of talking about before, is even this area, how much it's developed, from the story I told you of one of my friends who got shot, got robbed and shot just, 2 blocks over from shotgun and stuff, and how much this area has developed. So it's, every day is kind of an interesting experience of, just either, traveling through Salt Lake or, walking around Salt Lake, going to meetings and different things, and just those memories come back. And it's neat to see not only how far I've come, but actually how far, community has come as well. So.
Do you, when you're sitting at the homeless shelter you work at, what kind of relatedness can you have with them, and you tell them where you've been, where you've gone? How does that help them, and what kind of relatedness is that for them?
I like to think that it helps them. I've had several opportunities. As I mentioned, I throw myself out there so our clients, have an opportunity to see that I'm a real person. A lot of them know my story. I sit down and when they're having, lunch and dinner, I actually go in and sit down a lot of times with the clients and just, mingle with them and talk to them. And, I've had some opportunities where, I've had, again, an opportunity to sit down with the client and talk to them about their story. And, they're like, so tell us about your story. And I have an opportunity to open up and share my story with them. And they're just like, wow, that actually gives me hope. That knowing that somebody in your position had overcome all these obstacles and have made it to where you have, and so I think it's again it's kind of a, if we want to call it a blessing, that's fine, it's great and that's fine, but to be able to come full circle, being someone who's homeless and now being in a position to where I can actually help the homeless community, in several different ways. So,
do you see that? Do you see them leave? Do they go and do something? I mean, because you said it gives them hope. Do they? I don't know what the percentages are, and that's kind of the reason why I was talking about motivational speaking, because I was complaining. I complained about the homeless here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's not helpful. So what could I do? But what's the ratio of once you're homeless of getting out?
Yeah, you're going to find different percentages all across the country and all across the state. The homeless shelter I'm at, the Lantern House up in Ogden, actually has what they call, it's called the recidivism rate, which is the return rate of a homeless person. And we actually have one of the lowest recidivism rates in the state and in the country at only 3%. So for, every 100 people that exits out of our program at the Lantern House, only 3 of them are actually coming back. And again, those 3 might turn into some that actually eventually come back out. And, the Lantern House is a little different than a lot of other programs. We have a lot more rules and regulations. So we actually hold our clients accountable for everything they do day in and day out. And it's not just a handout. We like to make sure that we're providing them a hand up. And,
it should be like that anyway, for anything, really.
And I think that's why we have such a great success rate up there, and people are willing to try hard. And, we do have programs for those that don't want to take part in all that stuff, because we just don't want to see them sleeping out in the streets. So we still give them an opportunity to have some shelter at night and make sure that they're taken care of as well. So.
And that's done a lot of the time in homeless shelters, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about that, when they did the cleanup and the rebrand area? They had a word for it, you'd probably know the name.
I can't remember the name of it. But
clean up something. Did they clean up the area?
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I was actually fairly impressed. You live fairly close by the area, and it was almost like a small little town up there. Mm-hmm. I had last year when the International Olympic Committee did my documentary. They flew 2 camera guys out from Barcelona, Spain, and we're down there filming. And they were scared. They were like, we have never seen like this many homeless people like in one area, congregating in one area. And so for them to be able to do what they've done and kind of clean that area up has been pretty impressive. And we're excited, even though we're up in Ogden, we're excited to see what happens from here on out. I know a lot of the people that are in charge of the programs down here are actually utilizing the rules that we have up in Ogden, and they're going to implement them into their programs down here, and see how that works out.
Because you've done such a good precision rate.
Yeah. So
great. So what are you doing now? You also are a professional speaker, a motivational speaker. We're talking about Dan Clark earlier. Hi Dan, if you're watching, you watch us sometimes. But what is it you're doing with that, and how are you applying that?
Yeah, so I've been doing motivational speaking for almost 20 years now, but I've never actually taken it to the level of actually where I've made it somewhat of a career. And so I'm in the process right now where I'm trying to balance probably three major things in my life, and being a professional speaker is one of them. And I have the benefit of having Dan Clark, one of the most influential motivational speakers of our time.
We're not going to keep talking about Dan.
Right, we're not going to keep talking about Dan, but
Dan Clark.
But we love you, Dan. He's been such a role model for me, and I think everyone in their lifetime needs some type of role model or coach if they want to excel at whatever they're doing. And so in the last 6 months, we've actually been reaching out to a lot of different groups and booking more speaking deals, and so that's going really, really well. And then other than that, just the director of development for the homeless shelter, which is my full-time, my Clark Kent job, if we want to call it my Clark Kent job, and that's very rewarding. And then next month, I'll be doing a lot of events up at Park City with a lot of Olympic sponsors, and making my first run to take over as the president of the Utah Olympians Association. So
what is that?
So the Utah Olympians Association, so each state has their own chapter of the Olympians Association. And we, being that we have so many Winter Olympians, and we actually have a lot of Summer Olympians here in Utah as well, part of the purpose of that is obviously to continue, the Olympic movement in several different ways. So what you want to try to do is take the Olympians in that group and have them really active and connecting them to the community, whether it's business community, nonprofits, nonprofits in the area, getting connected to children in the area, just to kind of help, with that positive role model in different aspects, business, nonprofits, and kids. So we want to grow that organization and just really go out there and help connect Olympians to different people out there that could utilize them.
Great. What is your goal that you want to really do? Like, if you could do anything, what would you do?
You know what? I'm actually
all this that you're
that's the great thing is I'm currently in the position where I'm actually living exactly what I want to do. About a year and a half ago, I left the corporate world to come into the nonprofit world, and I really wanted to be in the human services, and I'm there now. So working with the homeless, and I want to do everything I can to help that organization up there. And if I can take some of my experiences in the past and implement some, potential new strategies with the homelessness throughout Utah, that'd be great. But just really help that organization and help the people that rely on our organization for all the different resources, and then just continue to motivate and inspire people through experiences in life, and relating my experiences of business and life and all that stuff, both to kids and corporate groups, and then hopefully take over as the president of the Utah Olympians Association. And that chapter has been run by the current president, Debbie Clark, and she's done a really good job. But we've been talking, and we think that we can actually take it to several levels higher where it needs to be. So I'm currently in, we talked about living a dream. I'm currently right now living that dream, doing exactly what I want to do.
Do you feel like since you came from being homeless to where you are now, that you're humbled and, I don't know what they call it, like an immigrant story? Mm-hmm. Like, I was born here, and I know sometimes I'm lazy, I'm like entitled. I know, and my parents, my parents are immigrants, but I do get that sometimes. And I'm an only child on top of that. So, so I've worked on giving and being in service and learned that. Luckily, my parents taught me that by just the way they were with people. But Do you feel that gives you an extra edge over other people?
I'm going to say in a positive way, yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean it in a negative
No,
way.
no, no. And you've known me for a while. I've always been, anytime if you see me being cocky, if you will, it's always in a joking manner.
Never
Happens. But I've always been a pretty humble person, and I think my experiences have helped me to be humble in many situations. I'm always the type of person that's willing to learn and wants to learn more from everybody and anybody I can. And being humble in many situations, there's a time and a place where you need to elevate that, but it just helps me be more open to other opportunities that are out there where either I can help somebody out, whether it's an individual or organization, or those organizations or individuals can help me as well, and they're willing to. So
great, that's wonderful. So what are you doing? Regular speaking? Do you do regular events?
Yeah, so right now we're in the process of probably doing about 2 speaking events a month. And for me, that's my goal over the next year is to consistently do about 2 speaking events a month. Dan seems to think he would like to see me do about 100 throughout the year. If we could pull that off.
I was thinking 10. Dan wants to do 10.
If we could pull that off, that's fantastic. I've got a great relationship with my organization in the Lantern House where they are willing to give me time away to do those events.
Oh, that's great.
But it also helps the organization as well, because I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my story, but also talking on behalf of the organization. And so it's a great relationship, and they're very supportive of what I'm doing as well. So
how does the organization get funded?
So the organization gets funded through several different ways. You have your individual donors, of people that just donate however they want to donate, and then you've got your volunteers, and you've got your corporate donors, you've got your family foundations, and you have your state programs. So there's several different ways, and my job now coming in as the new director of development is to kind of put some more organization to all that stuff, and help out and build those relationships to another level, so you can help increase the budget so you can create more programs for the clients. We're looking to build 2 more buildings that will be very beneficial to our clients. One's a day center, one's a pet center. A lot of people are like, why would you have a pet center?
That's as soon as you said that, pet center, because they have pets?
Yeah, so what we found is typically if you have someone who's homeless that has a pet, majority of the time, I would say probably 99% of the time, they're not going to leave their pet alone to go out and look for a career, look for a job, look for education, look for any other opportunities. Because
where would they leave them?
Where would they leave them? And that pet typically is somebody that
I
helps them.
It's
their pet is kind of their coping mechanism for them. It's their support center. So
I'm giving crap to my dog all day.
Right?
I'm like, what?
And he has an awesome dog too. It's a great dog.
She's very smart.
Yeah.
Because she answers back sometimes.
She does, yeah. And so, we want to eventually build a pet center, and we've already started that campaign of raising funds for that. But we want to make sure that we provide as many resources and opportunities for our clients that want to take advantage of those as we possibly can. And the next thing will be the day center, and the day center will be a place where clients can go and do research on the computer. They can job search. Eventually, what I'd really like to do is bring in some professional volunteers where maybe we implement some high school teachers to come in and help those clients. Maybe if they need their GED, or if they want to get work towards getting into college programs, then we bring in professional college volunteers and professors to help come in and teach classes, and just some basic life skills, and just pretty much, again, whatever it is that they need, we want to make sure that they have those resources, because a lot of people think homeless people are just homeless people, and that's how they started off. But you have people that maybe they were born into homelessness like I was, and you might have somebody who was a very successful person that for whatever reason fell down on their luck, and they just need a helping hand. And so homelessness doesn't target one demographic; it targets anybody at any point in time. And and it's again, you might have some homeless people that they want to be homeless, and this is what they want to do.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And that's fine. But the ones that want support and want the help, we want to make sure that we can provide them the tools that they need to get back on their feet.
Well, not to get sidetracked, 'cause we're going to wrap up the show, but to add on a social, like the effect on the society, is it okay when someone wants to be homeless?
You know, and that's, I think that's you ask society, and I'm sure the majority of society would say no.
The pressure on society, whatever it is for us to take care of it, is it okay when someone is homeless?
Yeah, again, you know, I think that really depends on that situation. You know, I've talked to several people that have been homeless and asked them, like, hey, you know, why are you homeless? And I've had some people tell me their story of, you know, they fell down on bad luck, or, you know, XYZ happened. And I've had some people tell me, they said, you know what, I was just tired of being a person that had to follow the rules of society, and I just didn't want to be there anymore. I just don't care. So I think
and I met people like that too.
Yeah.
And I heard you say that. That's why I asked. But.
Yeah. But, you know, then again, you know, if we don't help take care of those people, then, you know, that situation could continue to get worse. But
I get it, because I get tired of the rules of society.
Right? I get tired of the rules of society.
I get tired of calling customer service at Comcast. I'm like, it's supposed to be $25, not $80. I'm sorry, sir, you're going to have to pay this bill. You don't understand what I'm saying. Pull out my contract.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Please look. Well, you still need to make this payment.
Yeah.
But it's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you listening to me?
And that's, you know, I think that's, again, being in the position I'm in, is I get to help my clients understand that what they're going through, they're not the only ones. And a lot of times they're like, what are you talking about? And I'll tell them something that happened in my day that day. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of us, and it's all about.
So if you guys have any problem with Comcast, I am also. Him too. Too.
Wait, I'm doing an event for Comcast next month. I love Comcast. So, it's great to be able to help those clients understand that, you know, they're not the only ones, and, you know, it happens to just normal, regular people too. And again, whatever I can do to help them out, I'm happy to do so.
Great. So, as a professional speaker, how would someone reach out to you to have you talk at their event, and what would you be speaking about?
Yeah, so a few different ways you can get a hold of me. I have my own website called olympianspeaks.com.
And that's olympianspeaks.com.
Or you can get a hold of my agent Camille at Selective Artist Agency. And there's also a link on my website through there.
He has an agent.
I have an agent, Agent Orange. Now, she's amazing. I love her. She's a great person. When I speak on something, it really depends on what the client wants. I mean, I've done everything from just telling my story from, you know, day one until, you know, present time. And I've done, you know, something where I've taken my story and all the obstacles I've learned, both as an athlete and as a professional, and how I overcame those, and, you know, game planning and team bonding and you know, all the different things of everything in between. So it just really depends on what the client wants, but we can tailor that message to whatever it is that the client needs.
Great. Okay. So you get a hold of me through
Olympian Speaks.
Olympianspeaks.com, and I guess there's a contact.
Yeah.
He's got a documentary on there. I hear it's pretty awesome. I haven't seen it yet, but I will, because I have a documentary too, so I should watch his, because I want you to watch mine.
Well, maybe we'll get together and we'll sit down and have some popcorn and watch each other's documentaries.
It'll be 2 hours.
Yeah.
Mine's longer.
Is it really? Oh. Okay, so my next step is to create a full-length documentary, so.
Thank you guys for watching and listening to the Ultra Perform Show, the show about performing your best in business and life. I'd like to thank our special sponsor, Tyler's Coffee. You can find it at tylerscoffee.com or walmart.com. It's acid-free and doctor recommended. Keep your eyes and ears open for our show weekdays at 5 o'clock. And in studio, we stream live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and Blog Talk Radio. And then you can find us on iTunes, iHeart, and Flash TV. See you guys later. Bye.